Today's conversation is pretty much continuing our little series. So we have your first thing that we talked about, which is sleep. Super important. Prioritizing sleep to improve your overall health. We have your second item, which was stress management. Third, which is nutrition. And fourth, which is your exercising. So we're going to talk about stress management, so that second priority. Typically with these four, of course there's other parts to health, but with these four, typically you're going to find one of them being your nemesis, so to speak, your hardest thing to work on for you personally, whatever that may be. And maybe you struggle with all of them a lot, or just a few of them. It's going to be different for each person, but normally in this is your hard thing. So for me personally, stress management is definitely one of the harder things that I deal with, that I have to pretty much constantly work. Not that we're not working on other items, but work harder on this. So stress management, pretty close to my personal struggle. Maybe yours as well. If I'm speaking like I've been doing, speaking like I'm talking to our avatar Fred or to a client here. For those who are wondering, I don't have a client named Fred. That's why I chose the name. Now that I said that, I'll have a client named Fred. With that being said, it's easier said than done, typically, with most of these things. But it does a lot of times stem from the other aspects. Each of them fall into each other, or work to each other, attached to each other, I should say. So sleep, if you're having poor sleep, there's a higher chance that you're going to struggle even more with stress, managing your stress. And there's a capacity for each individual in different parts of your life where your stress level you can handle more, tolerate more. That does not mean that's optimal. So there's some people like, oh man, I handle a lot of stress. I'm really good at that. Great, that's not optimal more than likely for them. It'd be more optimal to reduce that stress. So what we all should be doing is trying to manage the stress, try to reduce the unnecessary stress. So real quick, just a point of information, there is such thing as good stress. For example, exercise. Exercise is a form of good stress. Now, does that mean you can overload yourself with good stress? Well, most definitely. Definitely can overload yourself with good stress. I'm sure you've heard of those people who overtrain. That would be considered giving yourself too much of that good stress stimulus. So, with that being said, your stress, helping yourself manage it, will help regulate a lot of things. So let's talk about a few ways that you can help manage the stress, reduce the stress, whatever you want to think of it. So one, probably kind of obvious now that I just set up the expectation that each of these items go together, is improve your sleep. If you improve your sleep, or the quality of sleep, you can reduce your stress automatically. Like potentially for some people that may just be the thing. If you are getting good, adequate sleep, you're going to wake up more refreshed, more energy, and more able to function properly to handle various different things that are being sent at you, whether that's work, family, whatever the type of stress it is. You're going to handle it much better than you were if you were on lack of sleep, if you were having lack of sleep. So, improve your sleep. Another thing is improve your diet. What do you know? These items are really connecting together, right? So improving your diet most definitely can help How so? So sleep probably seems obvious, energy level, you're more focused, able to think rationally, able to think logically. And then if your diet is improving, you're going to improve your gut health, you're going to improve your energy levels as well, and you're going to just improve your ability to lower, again, because you're lowering the internal stress load, that having inflammation and having various different outcomes that come from poor diet. Now on the flip side, the stress level can raise your inflammation, or the ability to have more inflammation. Your negatives, or having too much stress, can also inhibit sleep. So you see how these can really affect each other. And then of course you probably can guess my third item that I would suggest in helping to manage stress is exercise. So if you exercise daily, or get a decent amount of exercise throughout the week, you could help reduce your stress. How so? Because you're probably going, didn't you just say exercise is a good stress and you can overdo that? Yeah, so definitely don't overtrain. We'll talk about that in the future, I'm sure. But exercise is definitely going to help. Think about if you go walk outside through the fresh air. We're about to get to that part too. But walking outside, moving around, helps you think a little bit better, helps you, again, feel better. So again, that's a form of what that exercise is doing. When you get scientific, talk about release of endorphins, all those things to help better improve your ability to handle stress. As well as some people take stress relief in their exercise. Strength training is a good stress release. Being able to focus purely, you can't really think of anything else when you're, especially if you're strength training. If you're walking on a treadmill, yeah, you can really contemplate those things and really still think about those things that are being stressful. But strength training, you got a heavy barbell on your back, or you're trying to press the heavy barbell over your head. Kind of hard to be thinking about what was stressing you that day, because if you take that mind off of that, it's probably not going to go well for the squat or the overhead press or whatever the exercise may be. So that's one. So we got 3 items that you can really help improve your stress or manage your stress. So let's dive a little bit into some more. Some more ways is meditation. You're going like, oh man, I'm not really into like that woo-woo thing, right? Well, let's broaden our spectrum of meditation. Meditation you can think of as praying, talking to God. You can think of meditation as getting alone, having some time to really give that 10,000 foot perspective above, or like you're in an airplane above looking down and kind of getting that perspective, that bigger perspective of what's going on. Mindfulness exercises, things like that. So you don't have to think about just sitting in the woods and humming to yourself. Yoga is useful as well. Again, that kind of blurs the line between meditation and exercise, but it's another aspect that you can definitely look into to help. I'm just gonna hold the phone. So bear with me for the weird angles here. So you could definitely improve and manage your stress there. So we're talking just bullet point here. There's of course other things. Something that I definitely myself have seen, and I'll just kind of jump back outside of our little list of things that can improve. I've noticed when I have better quality of sleep or more sleep, I function better, handle stress better, not as irritable. If I'm up on top of my eating and tracking everything and staying and not and preventing like the hunger and hitting my marks with that protein amount, I am really less irritable and more energy, better functioning. And then of course exercise, definitely improving it as well. I definitely can notice when I haven't been doing as much, or when I've gone overtraining, where I just feel fatigued, exhausted, and just really can't handle another stress load. That's just me personally. Again, I like to, some of the things I like doing, let's just say for something that can be really helpful at night, this is kind of jumping back into the nightly routine, is really pondering some of the things that was really successful in the day. So some gratitude, some thankfulness, praying. Being consistent with that is definitely something that I will openly say is a struggle personally. So I will openly admit, again, these are things that are continuums through life. Having something that can anchor you in your life, because there's so much stress out there. People want to distract you with all this negative information. Something I tell clients that tend to be overly stressed, and I ask them, hey, how much TV do you watch? How much news do you intake? However that is taken, whether that's reading newspaper to articles to potentially again news channels, and typically that is another thing that I try to get clients, coach them to do, like, hey, find other options, find other things you can watch or do during those times to lower or reduce that stress, because again, that negative information is just going to increase the stress load or stress amount. Now, some of you are going to be like, man, I manage my stress really well, I don't even have to do all those things. Cool, I'm happy for you. Some people are going to struggle more on certain things, like I said. But finding those things that are going to stick. Don't try to go do everything I just said all at one time. If you're not, a good starting point is, again, like, stick with the 4 that I said before. So if you're like, man, my stress sucks, I can't manage it, a good starting point, improve your sleep. You're like, cool, I already do that. I still suck at stress management, right? Go to the diet portion. Go to the exercise portion. If you're checking these boxes off, then we can really get into the nuances of what is going to work for you individually. Maybe that's improving, again, that nightly routine, that morning wake-up time, that getting some alone time in the morning, or creating a more safer space in the morning or throughout the day for you to really have some time to think through your thoughts, mind tools to help you improve that. So finding those aspects is definitely what's going to find it for you personally. And that's what it is. I would sit down with a client. Obviously, right now, I can't sit down with each individual who may be watching this, but I would sit down with you as a client, or talk through it week by week, to kind of help you find what's better, what's going on, what's slowing. And of course, if maybe that's talking to a counselor, getting a psychologist, going to therapy potentially may help. And definitely doing those things that help you cope, lower the stress, manage the situation. And of course, there's going to be times in life that it's just going to be higher. There's definitely catastrophic events that do happen in life. So anyway, I arrived at my destination. I hope that's helpful. Until the next one, which is on diet, I'm out.